Without further ado, I'm excited to introduce the last speaker, at least in this part of the session. We've got Emilio Nieto. He is the general manager of the Spanish National Hydrogen Center, or CNH2. He's here to speak about the green hydrogen work that he's doing. Mr. Nieto has more than 20 years of experience in R&D and quality and business development and management at a range of multinational enterprises. He's also got a PhD in chemistry, and we're excited to welcome him today. Thanks, Emilio.
Well, good afternoon to everybody, and thank you for being here. I know that it's difficult to be the last one, but the most advantageous thing is that the most of the information I will want to share with you, it will be also commented during these 2 days. So I will try to go in detail to skip this kind of information and to go directly to how Spain is organizing the strategy and how our center is providing added value to the different projects who are working in the research area. In 2020, the Commission, you all know, they are defining a lot of different steps, let's say, in order to move forward and deploy the hydrogen economy. And they were making a new idea, a new name also with the part of the Commission who are funding this kind of projects, and now is called European Clean Hydrogen Alliance. And these are also different possibilities in order to Europe use this kind of tools in order to move forward and deploy the hydrogen economy we are talking about. I mean, but we are not talking only regarding the research projects, and also are talking about how to help with the investment, how to help with the regulation, that this is a critical point, and also how it's possible to boost the market situation and try to improve the different possibilities for the people and not only companies, but also the people who are working in the universities and the research centers, working together in order to be able to comply with the different goals already defined. And this is the brief discussion. So the Commission want to have close to 25% of the hydrogen covering the demand of the energy. They are a huge amount of money in order to put, and we will see, because the last discussion is during with the problem of the Russian war, the Commission is start thinking how it's possible to boost and try to speed up this kind of process, and maybe the final decision in the next year is to put a little bit more money and try to give more chance in order to deploy more quickly the hydrogen economy. And you can see more or less this NOx reduction, CO2 reduction, and a lot of different jobs to be created. This diagram, and is in order to show you that the proposition is to play in all the goals. I mean, not only in the heavy duty and not only in the range, not only in the trucks, but also there are a lot of different possibilities. And you can see here, they are proposing the different possibilities in order to boost short, medium, and long-term opportunities for creating and try to deploy all the things. Also, from the economical point of view, it was already discussed. And what's happening in Spain? So Spain, based on those issues, sorry, it's in Spanish because it's the original picture from the different documents we are having now on board in Spain. But I will try to explain a little bit more the hydrogen strategy defining in Spain, but it's also how to decarbonize all the different industrial economy in a larger scale, and also how to store and the different possibilities we have in Spain to boost and try to work together in order to improve the storage of these kind of situations. These are the main critical points and the main advantages that Spain has in order to be able to play a key role in this kind of transition of the energy. You know, we have a lot of different possibilities of renewable, a lot of different industries who consume already today a lot of amount of tons of hydrogen, and this is a huge potential in order to profit and collaborate all together and try to produce not only hydrogen for the own consumption in Spain, but also a lot of different hydrogen in order to sell outside Europe, you know. This is not detailed to you, but you know there are a lot of different sustainable goals, and all this hydrogen momentum, you know, we are having in Spain, they are concentrate in covering all the whole goals, and you can see the Action 9 and the Action 17 based on research and development, and also how it's possible to boost the renewable energy. That is the base on the strategy here in Spain in order to continue moving forward with this kind of situation. But the strategy, hydrogen strategy in Spain, where are concentrated? They are concentrating green hydrogen, renewable hydrogen, using this renewable hydrogen as an energy vector, and try to propose, as at the final part of the presentation, I will try to give you a lot of different examples about the different hubs and huge projects they are proposing. But the main goal is try to organize all together, try to work in order to not losing opportunities, making isolated, let's say, projects or proposals, and try to put all together in order to have and to present a real hub. You know, it's not only not concentrating the production of the hydrogen, but also try to increase the demand and try to increase the off-takers of this hydrogen in order to be produced. They are covering all the different applications of the hydrogen. They are not concentrated only in the applications who use hydrogen as a raw material in the industry, but also they are concentrated in using and apply the different possibilities that offer the hydrogen where the electrification is technically not feasible or they are very costly, you know. They are also covering the solution who can offer the hydrogen in an island, you know, in an isolated area where you can disconnect completely from the network and try to continue working together in order to move forward. And also the standards. And this is quite critical issue, not only in Spain, but in all the countries, in order to work all together to base and to define a common rule in order to continue create a standard and a regulation specifically from the hydrogen. There are 60 measures. This 60 measure is divided in the different years. In the next slide, I will try to show you. The main goal is try to present the whole value chain of the hydrogen. It will be as all but for me it's quite important these two sentences, because we are talking about Spain, and you know that we are known for the beach and from the beers and from the lot of fun, but no one is checking what's happening with the documents, and the commitment is already there. And this is the first time. So the first time is it will be checking every year. It will be checking 3 years officially and try to check with the people that the goals is also really achieving as a good tool in order to make a good evolution. And the wide participation. I mean, this strategy, it was not, it was published of one ministry, but it was collaborating 4 ministries. And for me, is the first example in Spain to do that. I mean, the most of the times they are isolated and they are not working together. And this is quite a good example that the themes, if you are collaborating, it should be quite good in order to move forward. These will be the commitments. You know, you have a 2030, we have 2050, and of course, the main goal is try to decarbonize completely. Another thing is that if we all together work, we'll be able in order to achieve, and some intermediate around 2024 with a lower level of the electrolyzer, you know, and the gigawatts in order to have the installation. But you will see, we have in 2030 4 gigawatts. 4 gigawatts is 10% of the commitment of the Europe. I mean, for me, it's quite a huge. We will see if we have the possibility in order to achieve or not. 25% of the energy system, a lot of different hydrogen refueling stations. Now we have only 5. So you can see that between 5 and in less than 10 years to have 150, we have a long way around in order to move forward and working together to pass, to concentrate in heavy duty, light duty vehicles, at least 2 trains lines on a commercial basis, and more or less around 9 million of euros, 9,000 million of euros in order to use, in order to cover those goals, you know. We are having this PERTE. The PERTE is the project from renewable energy, renewable hydrogen and storage. And this is the way that the ministry will spend the money. You have to apply with this kind of funding possibilities, concentrate in these three main business, and the goals is try to go to the strength that we have in Spain regarding the capability of renewables, the industry, and the technology and manufacture that we have to develop all together. You know, if we are tracking and try to check individually any of them, the technology. What's happening with the technology? We have a lot of different capabilities, but the problem is that we don't have now any company who are working in the fuel cell or any company who are working in produce the electrolyzers. So the main part of the money, it should be in order to create that situation in Spain, not to buy, let's say, the stacks outside Spain, but try to make a Spanish stack, let's say, I try to integrate all together. Talking about the manufacturer, the same. We have a lot of different capabilities, a lot of different companies in Spain who are a lot of experience in manufacture, but they are not any experience at all, or even they are not working in the hydrogen business. So with this kind of money, it needs to force those guys in order to apply and try to move forward. And also the self-sufficient, and you have to, we have discussing during the last 2 days a lot of in the different tables about how it's possible for us to start moving. But you can see that we are starting from zero. This is the problem in order to move forward. We have a lot of different bodies. The main body is the Spanish Association of Hydrogen, and now we are working in, this is sorry in Spanish, this is an industrial sectorial agenda, and this is the first time that is considered the needs on the industry and how it's possible to cover those needs with the different research projects and try to give a solution. And you can see here, this is a preliminary results. We are in the middle of the analysis. And if we are talking about the industry activity in Spain in the hydrogen value chain, you can see the most of them are concentrating the production and applications, and some part in storage, and the few of them is in the distribution. And the business lines, you can see we are covering more or less all the different parts of the value chain, and some part, or a huge part, is the equipment manufacturer, also the promotion of the projects, and some part is also from research and development department that at the beginning of the presentation was showing to you. These are the main distribution, the main possibilities in order to grow. This is the picture. So what we are talking is having this value chain, having these hubs or clusters of hydrogen, working a lot of different companies working together, working to integrate renewables, whatever will be. Of course, in Spain, we have a lot of photovoltaic, not too much wind, but we are forcing in order to increase this kind of wind, in order to feed the electrolyzer. And once you have the industry produce the hydrogen to cope all the different lines, industrial lines, all the buildings, and also using the hydrogen for the energy production. Some works about our center, the National Hydrogen Center. The National Hydrogen Center is starting in 2007. So this year we will have 15 years. And for me, it's a success, because we are talking about, we are starting from the scratch. We have no experience at all in the hydrogen. When we are starting in 2007, the people are looking at us like you are coming from the moon, because you are talking about hydrogen and I don't know nothing about hydrogen. It should be 2 or 3 different opportunities. And now it seems that is the time of the hydrogen. And these 15 years working, try to increase our knowledge and our capabilities, allow us in order to start now giving the added value and try to collaborate with the different industries in all the different projects we will show you later. And we have 13 labs, and we are covering the whole value chain. This means that covering the whole value chain, we are different labs from producing, from the production of the hydrogen, of course, concentrate in the green hydrogen, but we have different process, also biohydrogen and also photoelectronic catalysis. That is a new process who are testing by different companies there in Spain. Once we have the hydrogen, we are different labs in order how to store. Of course, we are working with different things. The only, the main process, let's say, is as a gas under pressure. but we have different plans in order to continue working with different systems to store the hydrogen, and how to develop the different conversion with using the fuel cell, not only for the low and medium temperature, but also with the high temperature with the solid oxide fuel cells. And then to apply and apply in different applications, not only for mobility, who are the ones who are paying you more for the kilo of hydrogen, but also from the stationary application. And the two corners are not the less important to be on the corner, is the security and safety, and also the cross-cutting issues. You know, I mean, as an administration body, we have to inform the society, we have to give the information to the society in order to move forward. These are the labs. And we have 100 kilowatts photovoltaic, who are the ones installation in order we have the energy in order to produce the green hydrogen. We have a building, is the second picture, where we have the electrolyzer, the fuel cell, and how it's possible to profit the heat. And this is the solution from the Iceland, or I don't know, a house in the middle of the mountain where you have all the different facilities connected without the need in order to connect with the network. We have a hydrogen refueling stations. Now we are building the second one with the two different pressures and portable, in order to have this possibility to use this in a truck to move in order to make the validation, whatever will be the project. And also different laboratories or different mechanisms in order to make different pieces or different parts of the value chain and give us a very good information about that. Some projects. We have in the last 3 years, 2 regional projects. One of them, it was concentrated in using the biomass, in using the waste. In that area in Spain is waste from the forest and from the agriculture. We are process different mechanical treatments in order to increase the efficiency and achieve acid gas. Another regional project, it was concentrated at the same time simultaneously how it's possible to improve the solid oxide fuel cell. And now we are working in how to integrate both systems and make a pilot plant in order to use this to produce the heat, the cool, and the electricity. Another projects, European projects we are working with, is with ammonia. One of them, the Mark one, is how it's possible to improve the catalyzer. And this catalyzer will be applied in the ARENA project, where all the process will be integrated, and you will be producing green ammonia, and you will have the possibility to test the green ammonia behavior against all the different possibilities for store the hydrogen. One important project from the Commission is the H2 pores. The H2 pores is the use of the hydrogen not as a fuel from the ships, but as a decarbonized use for the logistics of the port. And we are working here in order to create a research tracker and a jet tractor who are using the hydrogen for moving. And you can see the blue area. This is the Valencia port in the Mediterranean coast of Spain. And in the smaller one of the green, we are producing the hydrogen, and we have one truck with the final storage and the different tools from feeding. And these are the ones who are moving to the other big area where there is the different vehicles for the loading and unloading of the containers within the port. We have another project. We are creating a car. This car should be compete the next year in Sweden. This is a competition of the different categories, and it will be compete on the hydrogen category, and we will see what's happened. We have another project. This is together, and this is how to use the hydrogen in a domestic area in order to have a micro CSP working in the house, and try to also use the surplus of the energy you are producing in order to produce a small amount of the hydrogen. And this small amount of the hydrogen, this is this quite a small hydrogen refueling station, is maximum 1 kilo of hydrogen. And you will be use this 1 kilo of hydrogen for your daily transportation in order to save, because the most of the people, when you are driving every day, you are driving not too much kilometers. So with this 1 kilo of hydrogen is for you enough in order to move and to come back, and it's not costly. And of course, when you want to travel in the weekends, you need to go to a hydrogen refueling station, not in Spain because we don't have it, but in the next future, it will be able in order to do that. I will show you, this is a free of charge application you can download from the Google Play. This is Hydro Travel, and this is in order you to have in your mobile, how will be your travel if it will be used the hydrogen as a fuel cell. This is something that it was developed there in the Institute, and it will be also the idea to integrate all the maps in the future in Spain in order to have all the hydrogen refueling stations available at that time. And the other two projects is one is mining electromobility, and this is an international project collaborating with Chile. You know that when you want to open an underground mine, the ventilation is 80% of the CapEx. So with using the hydrogen in this kind of vehicles, you can reduce close to 90% of this investment, because you don't need so huge equipment of ventilation, because this is only vapor who are exhaust from these vehicles, and this should be very good in order to have all the ambient working of the underground mining available for the clean atmosphere, you know. And another important project is using the smart grids. This is the Interreg Sudoe. This is another project from the southwest of Europe. This is France, Spain, and Portugal. And we are creating a smart grid with all the different source of creating the energy integrated on the same system in order to apply to a building with 24 hours, 7 days need of energy, and try to achieve a zero emissions goal, you know. And this is a very important project. We will have two demonstrations. One should be at the end of this year in a hospital in the Mediterranean area, and the other one should be a data center in a university in Lisbon. And with these two, it's possible to show that you can disconnect it off the network, start working, and try not to suffer the lacking of different resources. And of course, another more projects from how it's possible to inform what is the hydrogen, which kind of things on the hydrogen it should be possible to move forward. And this is the last picture I would like to show you about what's happening in Spain. I mean, maybe you can see that the most of the projects are concentrated in the coast. Why? Because they try to use the ports as a possible transportation if you need to transport the hydrogen. But the main goal is try to adjust the different power defined where the industry needs this kind of hydrogen. So this means that they are adjusting. All of them are different phases, but you can see there are most of the different parts of the different areas of Spain. They are proposing different projects, and this is the way that Spain is going to comply this strategy. It was already explained to you before. One of them is Desire Hydrogen. This is the project in order to how is possible to put this 150 hydrogen refueling station in Spain, where and which kind of hydrogen refueling station, with production, without production, how will be stored the hydrogen and the pressure, liquid. So these kind of things, it will be handled with this project, and you can see more or less the proposition of the map, and of course thinking that we have to connect with the Pyrenees, with France, and also with Portugal. Another one, this Orange Bat. This should be an IPCE project. This is an interest project in Europe, and you can see it's covering all the whole value chain and focus in ceramic industry. This is one of the applications like steel or construction, but ceramics is also a high consumption of the gas and the energy, and they are producing a lot of different CO2 emissions. Another one is Green Spider. This is another project who will be presented in Europe as an interest project. And you can see it should be in connection with Germany and the Netherlands, and how it's possible to build together a network of producing and transportation all the hydrogen using different options, you know, and you can see here they are using in different transport freights, you know, I mean, mainly in heavy duty. We are concentrate and also considering different hydrogen refueling stations and different ways to store the hydrogen. The cost of the hydrogen. I mean, I will not talk about that because we have been discussing these kind of things during these 2 days, but these are the last figures from the Hydrogen Europe publication. And you can see that at the end, the main goal is try to reduce as quick as possible and try not to be a luxury product and try to be a commodity, you know. But of course, not always is easy in order to comply this, and we need to work in order to use this hydrogen to be produced. I mean, it's not a question of I producing a lot of different of hydrogen, but I have to spend a lot of money to store that production. I need to force the off-takers and need to force the demand. And if the demand is also available, the cost it will be reduced more quickly. Another part of the presentation is what about the last European project it was presented in the Commission. And I was make a brief information for you to have what are the proposition of the different countries regarding the different projects and the different power supplies. You know, you can see there are Spain, Netherlands, Greece, Germany, and Denmark, and they are proposing a very huge amount of gigawatts. Of course, I will not see if that Spain it will be arrive 70 gigawatts of the production of the hydrogen. It will be need a lot of different money. So all the money of the Commission in order to boost the hydrogen will be used in order to achieve that figure. But they are a commitment of the industry, they are a commitment of the academy, and they are projects we are proposing in order to achieve that power supply. So they are room, they are collaboration, they are consortia, and the only needs is money and commitment. So the Commission, it was sharing this kind of information. It was more than 170 projects proposed. It will be also try to cope with these 3 solutions to give a possibility in order to remove the barriers, try to reduce the cost mainly, to create all the facilities and all the ground in order to propose this kind of projects in an harmonized way. I tried also to achieve, let's say, the transition from the gray to the green, that this is the main goal in order to reduce the CO2 emissions at the end. If we are talking about how these kind of regions are proposing and the different repartition, let's say, about the different projects, the different types of the project, you can see that the production of the energy is the huge amount also for application in transport, and the next step, it will be in the industry. So nothing new about what we are hearing these 2 days with the different presentations. If we are talking about the process for the production, of course, the most of them are electrolysis, and some part is also methanation. Methanation are using how to take this emission of CO2, blending with the syngas, treating the waste, and try to make the methane, green methane, in order to use as a fuel, or try to use this kind of methane in order to integrate into the gas grid. When will be available those projects? You can see none of them will be in 2021, a few in 2022, but the main, it will be 3 or 4 years from now on, in order to have time, in order to integrate all together and try to work as a consortium, let's say. If we are concentrating the consumption of the hydrogen, these are the proposition, and this is something that you can check, and it's the same evolution that before. We are seeing that Spain, Germany, and all the rest of the countries are proposing a lot of different projects for the consumption of the energy, and this is quite important, as I told you before, because we are waste a lot of money in order to produce the hydrogen, but we need also projects in order to force the demand and try to use this kind of hydrogen to make the transition and try to be as clean as possible. The main goal you can see in the production also is the same from the consumption of the hydrogen projects proposed. I mean, it's more concentrated in 24 and 25 in order to have those projects already in work. If we are making or try to make an analysis about the different applications for where will be used this hydrogen. It will be the ammonia and refining and the chemical industry as we are using. We are not thinking in order to create new applications. First, the main goal is try to replace the gray, and this amount in Spain we are consume, I think is 500,000 tons of hydrogen. And the main ones is refinery, the second one is the fertilizers, and the third one is a mixture of different industrial applications as a raw material. And the main goal is try to replace this gray for the green, instead of thinking how it's possible to create new application for using this new gray hydrogen. In order to make how those projects will be presented, and the amount of the projects will be presented also for covering the transport, energy, and the building application. You can see here how will be the different, the transport application. Of course, the main part is to create a fleet. If we are talking about the energy, the main part is the production of hydrogen and also the production of the electricity. And if we are talking about building application, you can see is more or less equal the 4 different distributions of the different applications. And these are the last one, because I don't want, we are a little bit far away from the part, and I don't know if you have any questions, but I would like to we are talking about hydrogen, but the hydrogen is not the unique solution. At the end, we need a blending of technologies. We need a mix and a hybridization of the different technologies. And of course, the hydrogen will be the best one in some parts, but in another parts will be another different solutions, like the batteries, for example. And this is only to show you that the batteries, the people who are working in the batteries, are continue working and try and continue improving the different materials, the different efficiency, and of course, they are working in order to reduce the cost in the future. So we will achieve 2050 with a lower cost. And of course, what is surprising to me, considering the blue, considering the CO2 trapping, you know, in order to use and try to make this kind of transition also available to the industry. We have this was already shared about with all the information I was presenting to you, how will be the net zero. This was an international energy agency that was making this report, and the main goals in order to cover with this report is to work on the hard to abate industrial applications, to work in the transport, whatever will be the final application of the transport, try to use also the green hydrogen in boost the energy, and working also in order to inform the society about the different advantages we have in order to comply with this kind of economic of the hydrogen. These are all the data. This data was already presented. You can see here is also interesting how will be the different applications and how will be the different alternatives of using this fuel. You can see ammonia will be mainly for shipping, synthetic fuels mainly for aviation, and all the rest is possible to use the hydrogen. And then this is also important. And another important is the one it was saying to you that they are considered the trapping of the CO2. So the CCUS technologies, it should be also playing a very important role in the next year. So at the end, in 2050, all of us want to have a zero emissions, but it will be very complicated because in some of the data, there will be also some fuels, carbonic fuels, not completely exhaust and eliminated from the different mix. And another important issue is that one. That one is also, you can see the liquid, it should be from aviation and some part from the shipping with ammonia instead of the synthetic fuels. There is also the bio products will be also using in the low carbon gases from the gas grid, and in the fuel cell, it will be also mainly focusing on the transport and some part on the industry and a very few of the buildings. You know, I mean, we are comparing with, for instance, Asian countries in Japan and Korea. Japan and Korea has a lot of different developments in order to apply the hydrogen into the houses. And these kind of things, I think it will not be so easy to travel to Europe in order to be used, because the most of the companies who are producing this kind of equipment and concentrate there. So this is logic to think that if I had to apply, I buy this equipment with a low rate, and if this equipment travel, for instance, to Germany or to Spain, you have to pay a lot of money, and there is not a good business, in order to perform these kind of things. And these are my data. If you have any question, I will be more than happy in order to apply. We have 6 minutes. So.
We have recommendations around best practices to prepare infrastructure to receive hydrogen.
It's a good question, because I think all the different countries approach in a different way. It depends on your infrastructure. In Spain, we are focused using the ports, because we are, let's say, like an island, because we have a lot of different coasts and a lot of different ports, and it's quite easy that the hydrogen, whatever will be ammonia or hydrogen or liquid hydrogen, it will be from South Africa, it will be from the north, and also it can be transit from Spain. The question is that how is best in order to perform a huge project, in order to start as soon as possible with economy of scale to reduce the cost. This is the route that at least in our country it was starting to perform that, in order to make a huge amount of consortia and different industries to concentrate in the high production of the hydrogen. And once you are producing the hydrogen, you will apply on different applications. The most of them is looking for a high percentage of using in the mobility. Why? Because they are paying you more for the kilo of hydrogen. And this is why they are trying, in order to at least the half of the hydrogen production to be applied to the different transport application. But there are many. I mean, you will see there. So the approach, it will be different, depends on the countries. In Germany, for instance, this morning it was making a presentation, and they are only the north, the possibility of renewable, and the industry is in the south. So they are need hydrogen from outside. They are talking about Chile, they are talking about Saudi Arabia, they are talking about Spain and Morocco. So these kind of countries that have this possibility of renewable in order to apply and to move forward. Yes, please.
It's kind of a follow-on to his question, but I know right now you're talking about moving hydrogen around through the ports, but in a long-term hydrogen economy, do you foresee the need for some sort of like hydrogen midstream industry to arise, pipeline network to move it throughout the thing?
Yeah, I'm not in favor that using the gas network. I think this is let's say a transition possibility. And also for me, it's not a good idea to go to the blue, but we need to decarbonize, and this is a solution from now on. It will be creating another different things, because where are the space in order to introduce the CO2? How will be possible to use the CO2 afterwards? It will be safe, not safe. So if we are talking about the safe, why we are not talking about the hydrogen safe instead of making another different issue? So, but the most of the countries are trying to use these kind of things in order to reduce the cost, to make the investment more clever, let's say. If you are producing, for instance, 1 ton per day, and you have an industry, whatever will be, and this consume 80%, what's happened with this 20%? If you have to store, this means cost. So it's better for you in order to introduce into the network, and you are not suffering this kind of extra cost for store this kind of hydrogen. And this is the only situation I see sound to use and think to introduce the hydrogen into the network. For instance, in Spain, before we are changing from natural gas, we are using synthetic gas, and the synthetic gas, it was 60% of the hydrogen. We are talking about 60s, 70s. They are not too long. So we are working with the natural gas for the last 40, 50 years, but before it was using a gas with more than 60% of the hydrogen, and the tubes are the same. So they are safe and they are not suffering any use. But for me, it will be a pity to invest in green hydrogen and try to, let's say, destroy these advantages to blend with the natural gas. More questions? Okay, thank you for your patience. It will be a pleasure.